Hi guys, let's get into some analysis. We'll start with Bitcoin, higher time frames working down of course. The weekly, not too much to see the last 2 weeks other than the fact that the bulls have taken control again. Previous weeks we've had a inverted hammer where the bears tried to step in but quickly rejected, a little bit of indecision, and then the bears took over for that week there. Last week, they got rejected and smacked down pretty quick. So the bulls are still in charge. They still want to drive it higher. We're approaching 9,700 and the 10,000 round number mark. So we're getting close. I don't know that we've hit our top yet. We haven't had a blow off candle on the daily or even the weekly just yet. So a little bit of sideways movement here for a couple of weeks. So it'll be interesting to see what we can do at the $10,000 mark, whether we blast through or that's the point where we get our pullback. I'm predicting a pullback pretty soon, but we just have to wait and verify it and make sure it happens. Just got to trade what we see, not what we think. But if you saw my charts posted in the channel just the other day, you would have seen these fibs that I drew from the all-time high up around 20 grand and late December's all-time, well not all-time low, but December's recent low. So we're approaching a 0.38 fib, 10,000 round figure mark. Previously 10,000 wasn't really a clean level of resistance. It paused for a couple of days but blasted straight through, so it'll be interesting to see if it is actually resistance this time or whether it'll blast straight through and head back up to this next level here, which is 11,500 and 0.5 fib. So to complete the parabolic move, we could very easily get to this level, or maybe even 13,800, 0.618. That'd be impressive. Whether we will or not, I don't know, time will tell. But yeah, this is our first level here. So this week we'll see what happens. Not too much to see on the lower time frames. I was sizing up a trade just this morning based on the support of this trend line and breaking this little phase line here. Hasn't really done much. A little bit of a risky trade because I can see it pulling back a little bit further to these previous intraday highs around 8,800 mark and rejecting this 200 EMA here, which is the 4-hour 50. So no trade just yet, just waiting, and even then if we do go long I won't be pushing it too far. We're very well into this daily run and pretty close to 10,000. So just waiting, being patient, seeing what develops. Hopefully a bit of a deeper pullback and we can get a little sneaky trade in. The other thing to bear in mind is, let's look at the CME futures. Hang on, we'll go down to a different time frame. 4 hour. Right, closing the gaps. CME futures don't trade over the weekend, that's why we're getting gaps. These gaps here are the weekend breaks. More often than not, they do get filled. When they don't get filled, it's very rare that price doesn't retrace at some point and get it. So we haven't filled this gap here. On a different time frame it looks like we have, but the 4 hour in particular we haven't. So this could very well get left behind, but when Bitcoin does top out, it's very likely that we'll get back down to very low sevens to fill this eventually. So this last week's gap hasn't been filled yet. This gap here took, let's have a look, 10 days. So that must have been just after the weekend. Oh, there's the other weekend there. So that gap got filled just over a week or 10 days after. So we'll see how long it takes. 10 days. Yeah, so we'll see how long this takes to fill, if at all. Be nice to leave it behind actually and just keep ploughing north. We'll wait and see, but I'm very cautious of a move this week or this weekend back down to 8,500. So it's not something I want to short, just on the thoughts and predicting and trying to guess that a gap's being filled. Filling that gap isn't based on TA, it's just general knowledge that most gaps do get filled at some stage. So that's just something to be aware of for you guys that are just trying to stack and pile in longs. Just be careful of the CME futures. That's it for Bitcoin just for now. Let's look at Ethereum. Not really too much to add with Ethereum because it's very much like Bitcoin price action wise, but the parabolic move, like Bitcoin that we're currently in, hasn't really taken off as much with Ethereum. So I can see Ethereum at some stage against the US dollar having a bit more of a leg up than Bitcoin has, but just for now, like, they're running in unison, so they're both moving together. This here is a very encouraging consolidation support level above the weekly 50 MA. So, and is that support there? Not really a support line. So we could very well see the 360s in Ethereum, and that would be nice to see, but I'm just not willing to go long on Ethereum if Bitcoin corrects. So we'll have to wait and see on that one, but it's a very interesting weekly chart on Ethereum compared to Bitcoin. Let me just chuck a couple of lines in here. So triple top on the daily. Next levels about here on the daily. Actually, that previous low there. So that's 373. So yeah, it looks to me like we could very well move into the high 360s, 370 mark with Ethereum. Can it break the shackles against Bitcoin though? That's going to be the thing. So wait and see on Ethereum. Very close eye on that compared to what it does with Bitcoin, as I just mentioned. Bitcoin Cash. Not much to see on the weekly. Stayed away from Bitcoin Cash for quite a while because of this ugly sideways choppiness on pretty much all the time frames. We're broken clear of that now. Never really a clean entry out of that consolidation zone. Just slid off. Maybe at a support level now, but there's a lower support level about here. So nothing attractive on the daily, and lower time frames much the same. We'll just move straight on from that one. Litecoin. I haven't looked at Litecoin for a couple of days actually. Alright, pretty convincing weekly high test, bearish momentum coming in this week. We're only part way through this candle, so not much can be taken into account here, but could quite possibly be a deeper pullback to this support level here. But what's the daily got? Daily's already had a nice pullback to the daily 50 MA. Let's chuck a fib in here. 0.5 fib, daily 50 MA, horizontal support resistance level. So we could get another move up from this zone here, so I might start watching this one carefully. That daily level, it's not really that clean. Not much there, just a wick there. So that daily level's not really that valid, only a couple of touches, so I'll take that away. But we've got some fibs in the daily 50 MA, so I'll chuck this one on closer watch from now on. See what we've got. Let's have a look at the 1 hour. Oh, not much here. Looks like it wants to head lower, to be honest. Alright, I'll keep it on watch for the higher time frames, but lower time frames looks pretty average. EOS. Right, we'll just have a look at the weekly quickly, because the daily and the lower time frames look pretty average. Haven't reached our lows, back down to here at 5600 sats. I can see that happening, but we do have a pretty good support level here, so this is a pretty wide accumulation zone, if at all. Could very well be heading lower first. Caution with EOS, whatever it may be called. Yeah, but the accumulation here looks much better. Let's draw it in. So yeah, clean pretty clean clear zone here. This will likely act as a support level, so we might get a bounce, so we might look at a trade off of this level here, but based on the higher time frames, I wouldn't be surprised at all to see these lows back down here. So we'll keep a close eye on that one in the coming days as well. Right, Ripple. Ripple's caught my attention of late, as you guys may know from some previous postings I've put up. We'll start with Ripple USD. A very nice accumulation zone. Had some big fundamental news in recent days. Still tracking below the weekly 50 EMA, so a pop break, retest above that to start the weekly trend change will be nice, but in the meantime we're still flat as attack going sideways, so we need to wait for a breakout. The daily, this will be the breakout time frame to be looking at. Here's our accumulation zone here, between 45 cents and 28 cents. So we've got a triple top here, a break and a retest above 45 cents to take us to the next level, complete and confirm our higher low, golden cross, we could be away. So it's coming, it's early, don't get in too early. I've started accumulating a few Ripple just for a medium term hold. I don't like Ripple, so to speak, but I can see it outperforming pretty much everything for the midterm. So that's it for that one. Let's have a look at Ripple BTC pair. Not much to see. Right on, let's go to the Binance charts. Right, so weekly. Are we finding a bottom here, or are we going to go all the way back for a full reset? So sideways here, this could be an accumulation zone. I'd like to see this track sideways for a bit more, and this also might work in with Bitcoin reaching its top of the parabolic move and correction. And then once BTC stabilizes after a correction, we could very well see some altcoins starting to move against Bitcoin. So very close eye on this. I want to trade Ripple against Bitcoin, not Ripple against US dollar. So this is what I'll be watching carefully, this weekly and daily chart on Ripple. Daily, let's have a look. Not too much to see, still very bearish trend. Tried to have a pullback, double top, rejection of the daily 50 EMA. Looks like it wants to head lower to at least this previous low. So in saying that, have we got a trade opportunity? Not really. Would have had to have an order sitting ready to go at the top of this pump. That must have been the MoneyGram news announcement where it pumped. And then you would have had to trade back through the EMAs, which can be risky. So not really anything there that could have entered or currently enter. Just a no trade zone for a moment. ADA. Let's go to the weekly. A little bit the same as Ripple. A little bit further into the accumulation zone against Bitcoin. So same sort of thing, just want to be careful of high 800, 900 sat area for it to hold. If it does hold and stay in the accumulation zone for a bit longer, that's great. But if it does break that level, we're at risk of going all the way down to, holy shit, all the way down to 300 or 400 sats on the weekly. That's insane. Surely that won't happen. Never know. So yeah, here we are here, pretty good floor, pretty good support level. I'll look closer on the lower time frames for something to trade off the mid 900 sat area. Quick look at the 1 hour here. So we've got support there, and sitting on it right now. So That's a double bottom. No real MACD divergence, a little bit from this previous low. MACD making higher lows, but we've got a pretty good trend line here. So to go long on ADA, double bottom, break and retest the 1 hour 50 EMA and or trend line to make our first 1 hour higher low, and then we'll trade it up to the previous lows. All that EMA there. So what are we looking? We enter the trade there and a break and retest. That's only a 3% move, 10x leverage possibly. That's a 30% move, so it'd be worth taking. But we just definitely need a break and retest first against this pretty strong trend. And that's only an intraday resistance line, so we could quite actually try and trade this a lot higher within the weekly and daily zone, so back up to 1400 sats. Fair bit of work to do that given Bitcoin's current moves, but that's really it on that one. Tron ratio. Alright, we can see the accumulation a bit better on the daily, but this is the weekly for now. So we've got a double bottom here, and we look to be building momentum back down towards these levels, or at least 330 sats. So no longs based on the weekly just for now. It looks pretty bearish. Daily, what do we got here? That's the accumulation zone there I just mentioned, and we've broken back above it. That's pretty good support resistance, so we could actually, now we've broken it, we could come back up for a retest that resistance and the daily 50 MA before heading back down to the bottom of the accumulation zone. So this may open up a trade pretty soon. Let's have a look at the lower time frames. Skip to the 1 hour. So I made a little 1 hour bottom here. Not really a trend line, could be. So if we pull back to about 380 sats, or maybe 375 or thereabouts, rejecting the 4 hour 50 EMA, I'd be interested in shorting this down to low 300 sats. So our entry would be a rejection of the 4 hour 50 with a stop loss above this resistance level. So we've got a couple layers of resistance within our stop, which is what we want. And then it's a pretty good 14% move down to the bottom of the zone. If we got a 10x leverage, 8x leverage, that's a pretty solid risk reward trade. So close eye on Tron, but just at the moment it's just sideways choppy action. We need something a little bit clearer. If Bitcoin pumps again, this will just drop straight off, won't give us an entry. In fact, it may do. Let's put it on close watch. If it breaks this consolidation area, we might get something. So yeah, I'll keep a closer eye on this one, see what happens. Alright, that's it for now, guys. Yeah, I wasn't super organised with my charts. You saw me just sort of work through it in real time. I was analysing and thinking my way through it as I was recording. I didn't do any pre-analysis before the recording. So there it is. That's what I'm looking at live right now. Not too much to trade, but possibly quite a few things coming up. So risky environment at the moment. Just be cautious. If you're in Bitcoin longs at the moment, there's no need to shut them down. It's still looking pretty bullish. Just maybe protect your stops, move them up to break even or profit if you are. We'll see how the rest of this week continues.